stop and understand this to get more balance into your life. Essentially, in life, and this spans throughout every single life form, whether it's a plant, an insect, an animal, whatever. Every single animal, or life form rather I should say, has 7 specific life areas in which it grows through and goes through. So, understanding these 7 specific life areas, these specific energies that every single life form must experience, develop, and refine is going to help you better direct and focus your energy, so then you're not just wasting it, you feel what I'm saying, but you're directing it constructively. And on top of that, you're not just a bag in the wind being blown wherever the currents of life take you, but you actually become like the captain or a pilot, you feel what I'm saying? The captain of your ship, the pilot of your plane, you feel what I'm saying? Like, that's really what it's about. It's essential, because if you don't take control of the steering wheel, then you will be hijacked, you feel what I'm saying? A lot of us are hijacked, and it's deep. It's insane. Like, historically speaking, it's the colonial thing, you feel what I'm saying? The colonization was the hijacking. That's a whole other subject though. When it comes to these 7 energies, and this is connected to my video I previously made, where I was explaining living in a society, you feel what I'm saying, that is highly dysfunctional, we accept the bar of normality to be dysfunction, to be sickness, illness, and corruption, and things like that. Like, to so many people, that's normal to them, you feel what I'm saying? Which is insane, which is wild and unfortunate, because life could be so much better. Life could be so much brighter, you know, if we were to shift our perception, our paradigms, from accepting the dysfunction that was sold to us and moving towards a more functional construct. Now, pretty much, like I said, any and every life form must undergo these 7 phases, these 7 energies, these 7 areas of life, and this is what it's really about, and that's what they must cultivate. And it's like playing out through higher and lower octaves, you feel what I'm saying? And on the planet, or the material world, on the planet Earth, the material world, the highest expression of these 7 archetypes expressed through human beings. But when we go beyond the earth world or the material plane, and we look into the astral world, the spirit world, and the celestial world, you see these 7 energies, these 7 archetypes, but they go about expressing in higher octaves, you feel what I'm saying? And we're here cultivating and developing them, and then once we attain like what we came here for, you know what I'm saying, we accomplish, we mature, we develop, then, you know, we pass, we transition, and we use what we learn and what we cultivated in this lifetime as a foundation, you know what I'm saying, in order for us to build that same 7 archetypal energy, but on higher octaves. Now, pretty much this energy of like 7 is essential. Like, the number 7 is like very divine and valuable. You know, all the numbers have their significance, but it's like the number 7 is a 1. You feel what I'm saying? You feel what I'm saying? And the concept of 7, 8, 9, right? You know how we see 7, 8, 9? Even that is deep, because it's like 7, even though 9 is completion, 7 makes way for 9 to come into play, because 7 is the functional energy. It creates systems of harmony. You know what I'm saying? Every system that's complete and whole and harmonic is connected to 7, whether it's colors, music, the chakras, the planets, which I explained in a previous video. 7 planets, Neptune, Pluto, and Uranus, are higher octaves of one of the inner planets. You feel what I'm saying? That's a whole other story though. So, as an astrologer, right, someone who teaches astrology, someone who does astrological decodings and things like that, I teach it because it's an essential. And a lot of people don't even know what astrology is. I talk to a lot of people about astrology, and I enlighten them and I educate them, because a lot of people think they know, but truly you never know, and you won't know what you don't know. You feel what I'm saying? You never truly know what you don't know, and that's why people like myself are here. But yes, so I am going to be explaining these 7 archetypal energies that we need to cultivate within our life through the planets. But the cool thing is, the planets synchronize with the musical tones, chakras, colors, etc. But the first one is the archetype or energy of the sun, which essentially deals with power. It deals with significance. It deals with authority. It deals with, like, ultimately significance. And that energy, that archetype, is about understanding that every single individual is of significance. And one of the greatest ways to cultivate and build your significance energy is through alignment with Jupiterian energy. And we'll get into Jupiter later as well. We'll get into Jupiter later as well. But the way you do this is by cultivating your significance through the awareness and understanding that you are an extension of the divine, and the same power that flows to the divine, creator, etc., flows through you as well. You want to see yourself as an extension, almost like you can even say like a limb of the divine. You feel what I'm saying? But you are an extension of the divine, and when you truly learn, because the sun, it signifies the ego, the individual, the self, and how one is independently significant, how one contributes significance to their community, to their family, to their associates, etc. How you shine your light into this world. You feel what I'm saying? So yes, that is essential. You feel what I'm saying? To learn to cultivate significance, confidence, self-esteem, things like doing things for yourself, taking care of yourself, enjoying yourself, building power. You feel what I'm saying? Like truly understanding your archetype and your energy, and then diving into that. Like me, my archetype is surrounded around Geminian energy. I have like my sun, right, which we are talking about right now, for instance, in Gemini, in the 9th house, and it's conjuncting Jupiter, trining Uranus. All of these play a factor into how I can approach cultivating my sun energy, which is significance. For me, the way I cultivate significance for myself and for others is through the energy of intellect and higher knowledge and wisdom. The more higher knowledge and wisdom I receive, not just through study, but through opening myself and trusting myself and ability to tune in, my moon, I gotta get into my chart a little bit, at least a little bit. The beauty is, like, my moon is in Neptune, and my moon trines Neptune, so it's connected to Neptune, and Neptune deals with the spirit world, right? Neptune for me is in Aquarius, my moon is in Gemini 1 degree, which is the degree of intuition. But Neptune being connected to the spirit world, I have connections into the spirit world, and my knowledge and my wisdom is beyond me. You feel what I'm saying? And so the more I dive into that, and in general, just the more knowledge especially of a higher caliber that I can bring into this world, the more significance and value I build. But with my, with my sun being in the ninth house, conjuncting my Jupiter, the more I can connect with a higher source, the more I incorporate spiritual practices, religious practices, things of that nature, the more significance I can incorporate within myself. And Jupiter is an essential. You feel what I'm saying? Because like it's the closest conjunction to my sun. You feel what I'm saying? So I carry that Jupiterian energy heavily. And Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. You feel what I'm saying? And so another way I build significance is through that Cancerian energy, through taking care of others, through putting myself second and ensuring that others are taken care of. Cancer is that motherly energy. You feel what I'm saying? And a mother is highly self-sacrificial. She'll do what she must in order for her offspring to be good and okay. But the beauty of it is Jupiter is the benefic, it blesses, be less, you'll never be less, but it expands, rather I should say. It gives onto you. So it's just all beautiful. But I don't want to get too deep into this, because this video is about talking about the archetypal energies. You feel what I'm saying? But so that's me though. You feel what I'm saying? And that's why you should understand your astrology. Like, one of the best things you can do for yourself is investing into studying your birth chart. You feel what I'm saying? It's literally one of the best things you can do for yourself. One of the best things you could literally do for yourself. You feel what I'm saying? Okay. That's the first energy though. Cultivating, developing self-significance, self-empowerment, feeling yourself to be of value, having confidence in yourself, believe in yourself, and understanding you are valuable. You know what I'm saying? That's the first energy that we are all here to develop and cultivate as we approach, wholeness. The second energy is going to be the energy of the moon. You know what I'm saying? The energy of the moon. When it comes to the energy of the moon, it's about learning domestic energy, familial energy. It's about learning how to interconnect and get along with others, but in a personal, private setting. The capacity to be vulnerable with others, the capacity to build that familial connection. You feel what I'm saying? Like, even though, as it said, blood is thicker than water, frequency a lot of the times is your real family. You feel what I'm saying? But while on that subject, we all have to understand our energies. Like for me, I have my moon conjunct my Saturn. So, and it's in the 8th house, my moon and my Saturn. So for the longest time, before I truly got into transmutation and stepped into my power, I had let me not use that word. I had a lot of dysfunctional experiences familially. You feel what I'm saying? But understanding my energy, understanding my chart, but also understanding what astrology truly is, and the fact that it's a mental blueprint, and the fact that the mind is projecting reality, the holographic universe theory. You feel what I'm saying? Understanding all these things truly helped me realize that, like, I'm the source, and for a lot of the things that I'm experiencing, I contributed heavily to them. Even if, like, unintentionally, just by having a specific thought pattern within my mind, I am contributing to it. It's like, let's say you're born into, like, a traumatic familial energy, and then as you go through the experience within your family, you start to cultivate and develop all these weird, limiting, traumatic beliefs. And those thought patterns that are now existent four-dimensionally within your subconscious are responsible for the way you act and the experiences you attract into your life. So even though it was accidental, even though as you were having these experiences and reacting the way you were acting, you weren't intentionally trying to build those thought forms within you, that's still what happened. And as a result of that, you are now having those dysfunctional experiences. But that's the value of your birth chart. It really helps you bypass, you know what I'm saying? I mean, like, yeah, it's getting dark, so let me like turn to the light just a little bit. Just a little bit, you feel what I'm saying? Alright, cool. Yeah, dysfunction, you feel what I'm saying? So the moon energy, like for me, understanding where my moon was and how Saturn was conjuncting my moon, and it all happening in the 8th house, I kind of just knew like what I had to do to remedy that energy, you feel what I'm saying? And yeah, because that's one of the archetypes, that's one of the energies we need to cultivate and develop in this life. Not just the sun energy, which is self-significance and being an independent individual, and having, like the sun, right? The sun is self-sustaining, having an ability to be independent and self-sustainable. That's the sun. But you also need the moon, domestic energy, the familial energy, building a family for yourself, you know what I'm saying? Having the capacity to nurture and take care of those who cannot take care of themselves. Nurturing and taking care of yourself, you feel what I'm saying? And yeah, like in many words, that's what that moon energy is all about. That ability to take care, you feel what I'm saying? So that's the moon. And yeah, like I tried to explain it to people, but it's so hard, because like to truly embark on this work, you will gain a great return on your investment, but it's a major investment of time, pain, and all of this other stuff, you feel what I'm saying? But like I said, the return on investment is grandiose, so it's worth it regardless of how difficult it is. And the alternative is sitting and wallowing on your soil, you feel what I'm saying, pretty much, because you either get up and clean yourself up, or you just settle, you feel what I'm saying, and you deal with the cards you were dealt with, which I can't. But I'll tell you guys more about the others as time progresses, but for now we'll just talk about the sun and the moon. You know, I'll do Mercury as well. So the third archetype, and one of the ways I like to think about these is medals. You know how we give, for example, in sports, medals or trophies, which are a form of medals. We give medals to people who win, right? Like, oh, congratulations, you came in first place, you get a golden medal, etc. In so many ways, okay, because like when it comes to the planets and alchemy, the planets manifest through metals. You feel what I'm saying? Like the sun is gold. So when you cultivate that energy I talked about in correlation to the sun, spiritually, you generate gold for yourself. When you cultivate the energy of the moon that we just got done talking about, spiritually, by the universe, it's like a congratulations, an honorary type of thing. You're given silver. You feel what I'm saying? And then once you cultivate the Mercury energy, it's like, oh, what's good? What's up, bro?
What up?
Yeah, I'm doing this video though, but
Oh, I thought you were on the phone with somebody.
nah, bro, I'm recording right now.
Podcasting? You should start streaming, man.
Yeah, I go live every now and then. But yeah. So like, the last metal we'll talk about, you feel what I'm saying, is like that mercurial metal. You feel what I'm saying? And so this is one of the most important metals, because the thing with this metal is it gives like value to all the other metals. And so let's get into what it is first, and then we'll explain. So Mercury is the intellectual ability, one's ability to think and rationalize. I also say this, in alchemy, the metals connect with each other. See, Jupiter and Mercury, those two energies balance each other out. And when there's too much of one and not enough of another, there's a problem. So I'll say this, Jupiter is religion. You know what I'm saying? Jupiter also is connected to the feminine expression of Jupiter is Pisces, which is delusion. You know what I'm saying? Pisces is other things too, but for what I'm talking about right now, we'll say delusion. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, blind belief, blind optimism, that energy, you know what I'm saying? Like what we see in a lot of, like religion today. You know what I'm saying? People just accepting things without questioning or rationalizing. This is because there's an overextents of Jupiterian energy and a lack of Mercurial energy. And so what I'm saying here is Mercury is essential because it contributes to every single aspect of the metals. Like every single energy and archetype you need to cultivate, Mercury will show up and contribute to it. Mercury is intellect, logic, rationality. But when it comes to Jupiter, because people lack Mercury energy, they don't ask the questions, they don't analyze, they don't anchor in practicality, reason, logic, and they just blindly believe. You feel what I'm saying? But vice versa, because if there's too much Mercury and not enough Jupiter, then people become, in a sense, callous. You feel what I'm saying? Like their third eye becomes calcified, and they only perceive life to the physical senses, and they neglect and abandon reality. My bad, spirituality. You feel what I'm saying? Which is the higher reality. But yeah, so that's what Mercury is. Mercury is our intellectual ability, our ability to perceive time, our ability to calculate, our ability to just do all types of different things. You feel what I'm saying? So Mercury is essential. And Mercury can add to, for example, your moon energy, which is like the domestic ability to take care and things like that. Mercury will add to your sun energy, which is your sense of significance and value. Mercury is just an essential staple because it's intellect and logic and rationality. That's one. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Those three archetypes: the sun, which is your sense of independence and anchoring it into significance. You feel what I'm saying? Feeling yourself, knowing you're valuable and worthy, type energy. The moon's energy, which is a capacity to take care of others, but also furthermore to be open and receptive to being taken care of, connecting to family. You feel what I'm saying? Even if it's not physical family, realizing your galactic family. You feel what I'm saying? Realizing that archetypically, everything is reflecting, and just as we see things as above, right, as above, so below, as I said, just as we see things below here, they're being reflected up there as well. So family is, yes, down here as well, but up there as well. But we have to integrate with these things, and in the next video I'll talk deeper into the other archetypes and aspects. But yeah, so that's pretty much that, you guys. If you want, and if you're serious about your spiritual, let me not even say it like that, because we can be serious but maybe just not ready. So let me say it like this: if you're ready to dive deeper into these archetypes and truly understand the energies that compose life, then I invite you to invest into my astrology course. It's only $45, you feel what I'm saying? And people be going through it. It's crazy to me. But look, the thing is, your only source is spirit. We get caught up into the extras, but the truth is, if you just connect with spirit, then you won't have to worry about nothing. It's like that. Even though I'm not religious, spiritual, I like to, and I like to reference the Bible, but it's not word to word. But it's like that verse that speaks of the fact that the divine takes care of the beasts, the birds, the spider, the grass, the trees, the flower. So why would you doubt that it'll take care of you? But anyways, yeah, I invite you guys, to make that investment. And like I said, an investment is like something that will give back to you. But other than that, peace, you guys. Someone turned on the light. That's symbolic, you guys. Turn on that light. All right, peace. And I think it's the full moon in Scorpio. So Scorpio is all about transformation. You feel what I'm saying? So this can be a sign. This can be an invitation. This can be an invitation for you to choose to transform. Scorpio is not just transformation. It's also empowerment. It's raw power. All right, peace.